It is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. We are zooming in and focusing in on a great viewer question, and that is to understand more in depth, really, what does it mean to be an individual as supply to a narcissist? What does that really mean? What does that entail? And I received a lot of positive feedback about the most recent video on codependency status and how that is created within a narcissist or psychopathic relationship. So we're going to go in a little bit more in depth so you can understand really then the role of definition of boundaries, defining your boundaries and your standards. Your boundaries for yourself, as well as the standards for yourself, and how that can be where you want it and not where the narcissist wants it. Because oftentimes, as a person who has been ingrained or enmeshed as a supply in a relationship with a narcissist or a covert narcissist, or even who is someone who is psychopathic, to be targeted and scoped out as such, it is to understand that they basically expect you to conform to their standards of who they want you to be, rather than acknowledging you for who you really truly are. So you might be a laid back person, but they want you to be stressed out and, dancing and doing hula hoops for them. You might be, a simple person, easygoing, but they want you to be stressed out or intellectual. Or you might be an intellectual driven person, very practical, results oriented, and they want you to drop everything and be too spontaneous. So it is really kind of a feeling of force, or which is contradictory to your personal power. So when you are trying to force something that just ain't working, you're going to feel like you're giving up something in the relationship. So to be really as a supply is to be as to supply the demands of the narcissist. So if you think of just like the economic terms, supply and demand, it's really to understand that there is a demanding quality where they are trying to demand it, and it goes contradictory oftentimes to your will. So oftentimes people who are in a relationship with someone who is very controlling or has a pathological personality disorder where they are lying or controlling or belittling of you and trying to, stamp out your flame, which is your personal power, which is your liberation, your God-given inalienable right. And it is to confuse you that that is not yours to be had. So it is really the demands, the control, the projection that they instill and then expect you to satisfy their demands, to put them in the driver's seat of the relationship. You don't feel that you're on equal driving status, equal footing status, equal, sharing of opinions. There's an inferiority that's built into the relationship. And you can unequivocally say some people might enjoy being supply. They might enjoy being controlled by others. If they, don't want anything more out of life than just to live that, and if they're happy, being small, mediocre, for some people that might be boring or unhappy or unstimulating, or they don't feel that they can really be themselves, then that is a feeling of being in supply. So if you are feeling unhappy or there's too many demands on the relationship, which are counterintuitive to you, which meaning the relationship is not a good fit. It's trying to force you to be something to satisfy their standards versus your own standards. And this situation can get very high risk when you're in a relationship with someone who is antisocial or psychopathic. In other words, they have no intention to commit or fulfill the relationship. They lack the emotions and the ability to really connect and bond with others. They don't have energetic feeling there. They just don't. And they are aware though that to fit in, they must be smooth as the smoothest silk. I mean, they have to be like the you know, they can have to be beyond detection. I mean, they fit in better than, you know, I mean, they are just smooth as butter. They are just going to fit in wherever, when, whatever. But, you know, the problem with them is that they learn that they have to adapt and they have to live inauthentically or live by a mask in order to conceal the fact that, you know, that they don't have the brakes on the vehicle. They might confide in some people, or they might have kind of some psychopathic word salad, and they might just give you like drop little hints like, I'm dangerous, or, you know, I wonder how this ability can help me in business. They might tell you these things, coming up some psychopathic tells. And you can also kind of tell that their reactions are unequivocally, they will mimic others, but their responses will be kind of out of line when you really seeped in this field and understand personalities. You can see how they say things that are different. It's lacking of emotion, it's lacking of connection, and it's just something you will know. And it's something that you will not participate in because you know there is a danger element. To be a supply or to be a target of a psychopath, oh, should we go there? Well, you know, realize that you are just an end to their means. So whatever it is, you have no emotional, you know, they will not acknowledge your emotions. You're no different than a spoon, a fork, a pillow on a blanket. I mean, you can't really even understand that they really objectify people, and that they will, you know, snake through and then find whatever it is that they want, but they don't have the ability to give you what you want. So they will, as being a target there, you'll find that they will keep you where they want you, like in a very addicted or highly aroused state where you're going counterintuitively to your own identity. But it's usually in the name of love that they're trying to get you to twist and distort your I am. In other words, you might become a certain kind of person for them. So, and they know that this is a betrayal of what's best for you. In other words, they might get you to cheat. You know, if you highly value your family, they might get you to cheat on your family. If you highly value your kids, they might get you to abandon your kids and say that this and this doesn't matter. If you love your job, they'll try to, you know, snake in and smear reputation your job. They will go after what is most important and what is most sacred and valuable to you. So whether that's an emotional experience, a relationship, a job, a title, a position in your job, they are going to go after it. And oftentimes because they've worked so hard at being undetectable, they will do it in a way that they will say and behave in whatever means are required to do it, even if it's a complete lie, a bald-faced lie, which most people would not have the ability to do. Just the words, their body would go into a sweat, they would start shaking, they would not be comfortable. You know, that is where the truth will set you free, because literally you're freed up. You know, you're free to grow, you're free to grow and expand and be happy when you're living the truth. But like M. Scott Peck states in his book, The Road Less Traveled, believes that the core and root of a lot of mental illness and those sort of problems are because of living a lie. There's a degree of either self-denial, self-defense mechanisms, or where you're living a lie. So to thine own self be true. So in the privacy of this video, you can see then how it's even more intense. It's even more lethal. I use that word in hazardous when you're in a relationship with an individual who is lacking content of love, emotion, connection, and bonding with others. They ain't that. They might look it, but they're not that. It's like a decoy. Have you ever, gone fishing or seen like a decoy? They are a decoy of a person. I mean, that's the only analogy. And it's very scary to see this. You're like, that's why a lot of people freak out. Like they go into CPTSD because it's just like, you didn't know that the human population is capable of this. You're like, in the National Geographic, ocean views, and you see like those amazing cameras that photograph like the Australian deep, and they show you these octopuses that color change and then texture change their body to camouflage themselves. So you're like, oh my God, I did not know a living creature could do that. That is so cool. Like that octopus that was white now just became a pattern of black, and now he has bumpy texture. Like that is amazing. It's a protection mechanism. Or like how they shoot out ink in the air so nobody can see them. So the psychopath is a human being that's kind of like that. They shoot out ink in the air. They blur your vision so all you can see is them. You kind of are disoriented. You kind of keep going, but it's the high risk stimulation that you get with them, and then they kind of camouflage their body, their countenance, their persona. It's all a persona. And so for them to keep that up, that's to them. But for the other people who they keep spinning, you have to be careful if you have then had to then be a certain person, or buy a house where you thought they were going to live, or buy a car that you thought you two were going to drive, or tickets to places that you had talked about going, or kids that you share, and to know that you're now with this sort of individual it can be very, very frightening. But, it is best to face the fears and say, okay, I have become and modulated and, metaphoricized my personality during this one leg of my journey. Only here, you got a whole big long journey, but only in this section did things get, crazy. So now let's get into, like, if you imagine just like a fertile meadow, which is just open, blowing with wildflowers, the most beautiful place on earth. If you can take yourself there and say, okay, now that I'm free of that I am, and how I was supplied there, because that is draining me. It's de-energizing to me. I feel empty. I feel scared. I feel sick. I don't like the person I'm becoming. If you can, resonate to those statements, and you can say, that might be somebody's glory. Somebody might think, oh, it's so ideal to, do that work there, be in this relationship, that motorcycle, that house, that boat, whatever it is that they had you kind of inextricably, becoming a partner to their charade, if you will, is to say, okay, I'm dropping the charade ticket. That ain't me. That ain't fueling my fire. It's not, it's not the true I am. It's their I am. It's their you are. So, it's what they're telling you are versus what you truly are. So it's saying, okay, unfortunately, I've made, it's admitting to yourself, and it's not that there's anything wrong or crazy about you. It's to say, well, I had, experienced a momentary lapse of judgment, and I had trusted this person. I had loved this person. I had committed to this person, and I thought I was doing the best thing possible in my heart. That's what I committed to. But now I'm recognizing and realizing that is not best for me. That is unsustainable. I am no longer an agile, happy person in that relationship. I'm stiff, I'm stuck, I'm unrecognized, and I'm unvalidated, and that's not the place for me. Like, I unequivocally can admit in my heart of hearts, so now it's time for me to break ways and, forgive myself, and to know that part of the journey is not a waste of my energy or time. Even if it's been 10, 15, 25 years, it is a lesson learned, and those lessons will come to help build and help you to savor more of the positives with gratitude that you have moving forward. It'll help you to reflect and be more gracious and more grateful for your opportunity now. So it is to recognize that God is not looking back at that and saying, which is your source energy, which is really for the next part of your journey, where God will join you and your guides will join you and, take up arms with you if you, evoke those higher things and you ask, believe, receive, and you do this work on a daily basis, and you say, man, I want the good life. I want the real thing. I want the real dog, the real person, the real experience, the real degree, the real job, the real car. I don't want that lifestyle anymore. That does not pass my litmus test for life, for my authentic growth, that is not helping me to grow and solve problems and contribute to the human race. That's actually causing me to degrade the human race. I'm not there. That is not the real me, and they will not ever get to a chance to enjoy me. I had also a great a person who told me that, who's a very, very highly grown individual, said, as this had also happened to his life, he is very, very accomplished in his work, his profession, his family, his teachings. He is immaculate. He's amazing. And he acknowledged that, that this person was not really able to acknowledge and appreciate him for all that he has. And he's incredibly talented, a talented speaker, beautiful, good looking, and he can sing like OMG. I mean, it will carry you away to a whole nother place when you hear him sing. Like, you're transported. You're literally like in the ethers. You're in the quantum field when you hear him sing. His voice will take you places. And she was never able to see that. The most miraculous thing, when you look at really some incredible human achievements of voice, of design, of thought, of writing, of policy making. I mean, look at architecture. I mean, look at all the human potential and power that has been executed by those people who are in their power. Not made small to the demands of another, but to be part of the source energy, which is a larger calling. So if you've felt that sort of tug of war within yourself, and it's kind of related to this relationship, then you can unequivocally say, well, that's what it feels like to be a supply or, targeted by this individual. And we could go on more in depth in this if this is helping you. So this is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. And I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support. Love you.